Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 180 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on September 25th, 2023. All right, guys, an early episode this week, and also kind of a really quick episode today, probably. We have a research symposium we are attending this week, and we're super swamped. So, in fact, we were actually invited to a neat silencer industry event this week. We were supposed to be there all week, but we had to decline due to our research activities. Sometimes that happens. We do hope that all the folks at that event are having fun. So hopefully that's going well. A quick field testing update for you folks. We are progressing in a data-heavy way. We're up to our ears in analysis right now. We just came back actually from another large test series a few days ago. It was amazing. A lot of data gathered, a lot of great systems were evaluated, and this is basically continued in 2023 nonstop. There's just so much data. In fact, 14.5-inch AR testing is also ongoing continuously. Just so you guys know, and oh boy, howdy. There are going to be surprises there for some of you, I think. If you thought the Mark 18 taught you a lot, you would be right. But how should I say this? I would say that to dismiss certain parameters that some people don't think about, I think is dangerous. I really can't wait to show you guys some really neat stuff about that. I think that those of you who have listened to this podcast for a very long time and followed the research for a very long time are going to catch on really quickly. Some other folks might be extremely surprised about what happens on a 14.5-inch mid-length gas gun, and I think it's going to be cool. I can't wait to show you. Yeah, so that'll come eventually, so hold your horses, all right? As for right now, I think we have some fun topics for you today. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm in that mood. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on our speculation hat, and we're going to have some fun talking about brand new silencers on the market. What do you think? Yeah, so what are we going to do? We're going to talk about the new HUXWRX Ventum series. We'll talk about Surefire RC3 stuff. I know you guys are down for that, right? I mean, you got to be. Everyone and their mom has been speaking about those two silencers on the internet for the past few days. You can't go to a silencer discussion place on the internet in the past few days and not see people talking about the HUXWRX Ventum and the Surefire RC3, the SOCOM556-RC3, right? Everyone's talking about them, right? So why not talk about it on the podcast? I'll give you my thoughts. Why not? Everyone else is talking about it. So, you know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So we'll talk about that. Now, I should say, after that fun, that fun stuff, we also have a topic on, you guessed it, new member research. That's right, because there's actually a new Pew Science member article live on the website right now. If you are listening to this in the future, on the day of podcast publication, it's available for you. If instead you are a time traveler who is listening to this before we had a chance to make the website publication live, because maybe you're on the West Coast or something, or because you don't sleep, or maybe you're just in some other time zone. Look, listen, just be patient. Go back to bed. When you wake up, you're going to see in-depth subsonic 300 blackout research. That's right. High flow rate versus conventional. And we threw some other stuff in there too. Boy, howdy. That's a barn burner. It really is, because it's a really eye-opening publication for the industry, and Pew Science members are the only people who get the data. Okay? These are head-to-head comparisons. They're really wild. Pew Science members are going to see the violence. It's not violence, but some of it might be controversial to some people. I'm here for it. It's data and analysis, so be it. Bring it, I say. It's the Pew Science way. Okay, now that I've given you that exciting introduction, on with the show. Because the J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Legion Athletics. Man, I just worked out. I'm still in that pre-workout. I'm using the blood orange flavor of their Surge pre-workout. Or no, it's Pulse pre-workout, the blood orange flavor. I use the Performance Surge as an intro workout. I'm using all their stuff right now. It's wild. They got whey protein. They got pre-workout. They got post-workout. They have a lot of stuff, guys. Do they have everything you need? Maybe not, but they have a lot. So visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes, code word PEWScience, to save 20% off of your first order. And if you keep using that code for double loyalty points, you'll end up getting a net 10% off everything going forward with points using that code no matter what, no matter how many times you buy. Get strong. It's important. Get swole. Legion Athletics. This episode is also brought to you by Top Gun Range Houston. That's right. If you're in the Houston area, even if you're just visiting, they're worth checking out. In addition to having a 15-lane indoor shooting range, they have the largest firearm rental fleet in the entire state of Texas. You can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns, and you guessed it, machine guns. Who doesn't like that? You can check them out on their website at topgunrange.com. You can browse their entire firearm rental inventory there to see what you want to shoot when you get there. And also, you can bug them on Instagram at Top Gun Range. You should just DM them all the time at all hours of the night. It's no problem. Check them out. They're pretty good guys. This episode is also brought to you by High-End Armament Technologies. That's HEAT. And it's a dealer of exactly that, high-end arms and accessories. These guys have significant longevity in the machine gun game, the NFA game, significant expertise in the procurement and operation of night vision, thermal optics, infrared sighting systems, lasers. Check them out at highendarms.com. on Instagram at High End Arms, and they even have a Facebook page, which is also, you guessed it, High End Arms. I hope they can help you folks out if you need it. Tell them Jay sent you, okay? This episode is also brought to you by Silencer Shop. You can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically, and in turn, you will cut down on errors, you will simplify your silencer purchasing process, and most importantly, you'll get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty great. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. You guys that use them, if you ever use that money back guarantee, let me know how it goes. I've never had to use it, but I heard some people do. And finally, this podcast in its entirety is brought to you by the PEWScience Laboratory. I am the technical director of the lab, and in the interest of public education, the lab sponsors this podcast and runs a public research effort. And that effort continues to push the silencer industry forward one test at a time. You can visit PEWScience.com for the suppression rating. It's the simplest and most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. It's based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before the combustion takes place all the way until all of the combustion is gone and all weapon operation has ceased in the free field, truly as the mill standard intended. And what do we call that? Well, PEWScience is the home of the silencer sound standard. There's 7 sections, and it's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the entire world, and it's available to the public. Check it all out at PEWScience.com. And you can support this podcast. You can support the PEWScience Lab and all of the public testing that is released by joining with a membership at PEWScience.com. It would help a lot. It would keep the public effort going. And if you're not into recurring stuff, which, hey, in this economy, there is uncertainty, it's okay. You can hit the donate button on the review page of the podcast page. Every little bit helps. And you know what? Something that's free, doesn't cost you anything. You can rate this podcast with a good 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify or your favorite podcast provider to let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome, and we can help normalize the use of suppressed small arms as God intended. That's right. So we have 2 topics for you today, folks. What's that? New silencers. New silencers. Excuse me. He lost his mind. There are always new models coming to market. That's right. What's the latest? More flow-through technology from HUXWRX? That's right. The Ventum line has now been released. The Ventum 762 specifically. And what else? Well, as we've all seen this week, everywhere on the internet, there's an updated prolific rifle series. The Surefire SOCOM556-RC3. Oh my goodness gracious. So what else is on the horizon? And how do these additions impact the market, if at all? Find out on today's podcast. Topic 2. Speaking of new and emerging technologies, new Pew Science member research, as promised, published today. That's right. Research Supplement 6-124 is live. Tuesday. Subsonic 300 blackout suppression performance, flow through versus forward flux versus surge bypass versus conventional silencers. That's right. Head-to-head comparisons. HUXWRX HXQD762 versus the SIG SLH300 Ti versus the CAT ODB versus the Surefire SOCOM556 SPS versus the SIG SRD762 QD Ti. Subsonic battle, 5 silencers. This adds to the supersonic battle research from supplement 6-115. Oh my God, it's everywhere. Let's do it. Topic 1 at a time of 10 minutes and 52 seconds. Let's go. Pew Science, baby. What's that? New silencers. Let's talk about them. HUXWRX Ventum. Surefire SOCOM556-RC3. Our pets' heads are falling off. You seen Dumb and Dumber? Good movie. What else is on the horizon, guys? How do these additions to the market impact anything? Do they impact anything? Are they important? Do we care? Boy, howdy, man. 1 second. Oh, this week, this day, this weekend, this is amazing. So much testing, so many silencers coming out. I keep telling you this is the best time to be a silencer consumer. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive in the silencer game right now. I tell you what, let's go, baby. So exciting. So many things happening. Companies are springing up. Things are getting tested. Old silencers, legacy silencers, new silencers, wild silencers, red silencers, blue silencers. It's a madhouse. Performance discussion, physics instruction, research talk. All of these things happen on this podcast all of the time. But what about speculation? What about performance and market speculation? Do we ever do that? Seldomly. Really, if ever. Seldomly do I ever speak about that, if ever. We have in the past sparingly when things are getting interesting and spicy and exciting. And it's a podcast. It's entertainment. It's a creative outlet. So do we ever speculate? Seldomly, if ever. But do you want to? Yeah, I know you do right now. I do. I want to, so let's do it. Creativity, baby. Well, let the juices flow. Join me, won't you? Okay, so no, we're not going to go crazy here, but we are going to speculate right now, I think. Or at least I'm going to speculate here for you. Pew Science laboratory personnel discusses these things continuously, internally, as you can imagine. So now you'll have a window into what we talk about, at least, what I can tell you that we talk about. I can't tell you everything, obviously, but we can have a little fun. So first up, HUXWRX Ventum. Guys, were we not just talking about understanding the flow-through technology like in the past couple of podcasts? Did I not just tell you all about that? I mean, go back to a couple, I don't remember what episode it was. I went on a long diatribe about it. I talked about how we characterized the flow-through technology over the years. We went from severe skepticism as this technology advanced. We understood its limitations. Guys, we went through it. This is what's happening. I mean, you saw us go through it. And so speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. This is the power of research progression, guys. Okay? What we have here is a new silencer. Sure, it's a new silencer, but we understand quite a lot about this technology already, don't we? We do. What do you already have in the Pew Science research pedigree in over 123 in 124 articles today, but we'll get to the 124th article in the next topic. So what do you have in 124 articles? You have comprehensive performance characterization across different combustion regimes. That's what you have. That's right. That's what you have. And right now, if you're a Pew Science reader, or if you're a member, if you're an enthusiast, or maybe you're just a podcast listener, you know exactly what I'm going to say about the HUXWRX Ventum. You know exactly what I'm going to say if you've been following this research. It uses flow-through technology, and it's smaller than a Flow 762 Ti, right? Okay. So what do we know about the Flow series? And what do we know about its increased efficacy over that of the previous HXQD series? What do we know? You've been there. You got the t-shirt. You got the data. What are the differences? We already know. Okay? There are some geometric differences, but what is one of the main components of efficacy to the flow-through design? Runway, baby. It's runway. It's got to be. Path length. It's path length and additional turbulence causing restriction. That's it. So what's the primary goal here, guys? Duration of heat transfer coupled with turbulent zones that minimize stagnation. Let's say it in plain English. You want to keep the gas moving, make it touch a lot of surface area, and control the momentum dump to atmosphere to the extent possible. We've been there, got the t-shirt, showed you the research again and again. So what do we know about the flow series, guys? Outperformed the HXQD series because it's larger and has more advanced geometry. How do they do that? 3D printing. It's a monolithic system, no joints, no welds. Great minimization of material lost. So what? That, like, if you lose material that would have contributed to either a flow shaping or direct heat transfer, and you minimize that loss, you're in business. That's flow 762, right? Larger diameter, all titanium, minimized weight for the geometry, right? That's why the flow 762 Ti was able to do what it does in the size envelope it has. Okay? It's their flagship rifle silencer series, right? Right. We got that t-shirt. What do we know about the Ventum? Much different. Smaller. Removable core. So right away, what does it mean physically? Well, less time for gas flow unless they increase the back pressure, which probably didn't a lot. Okay. Unless they increased late time flow restriction like the flow did to the HXQD, unless they did that, the Ventum is going to have either the same or comparable internal flow duration as the flow, right? It would have to. Physics dictates that for this technology, it would have to. So therefore, what conclusion can you draw? If the back pressure is roughly the same, it's going to be louder than the flow 762. It has to be. It has to be. Right? Because if it wasn't, then they would have made the flow 762 smaller. Why would you make the flow 762 as big as it is? Right? So, I mean, I've got a lot of questions about this. We have not tested it, but I'm just telling you what I see. I'm guessing. This could be completely wrong, but that's part of speculation. That's the disclaimer here. I'm just speculating, but I'm speculating based on data and analysis and what we know about the silencers. You see, but we can do this. We're not throwing darts in a dark room, guys. We're not throwing shots in the dark here. We're talking about physics. We're talking about what we know from the silencers. I think we've earned that forum. Yeah, yeah. So when you look at the Ventum, it's less complex, smaller, cheaper. And it can take hub mounts. Okay. Universal mount capability. What does that mean? It means you can use your favorite mounts. Okay. What does it also mean? It means you can completely change the performance of the silencer and you need to be extremely careful. How many times have I told you that? How many times have we talked about that, guys? If you think you are getting flow-through behavior using every type of muzzle device under the sun, guess again. Remember the SCAR project. Remember the cherry bomb discussion. Early time shock and blast are real. Be careful. Do not think you can just put any muzzle device you want in the back of a hub silencer and have super high flow rate. You're not going to. Okay? Come on, guys. We're not saying this for fun. It's because it's real and physics are real. So really, until the PEW Science Laboratory tests the HUXWRX Ventum, we certainly don't know its performance. Okay, we do not know. But again, given what we know about HXQD technology and flow technology and the amount of performance data analysis we have to date, we can say with high confidence that the performance of the Ventum will be different than the flow series, and it being a higher performance unit than the flow series is extremely unlikely due to physics. Being wrong about that would be neat. It would be cool to be wrong. And we obviously reserve the right to be wrong. This is just a speculation. This is a fun podcast. We're talking about it. But I'm also being real with you. I'm being realistic. Okay, this is one of the most studied technologies in the pedigree. In the Silencer Sound Standard, this is one of the most studied technologies in the pedigree. Okay? So, I mean, it could be cool, dude. Hey, it's flexible. It's got a hub mount. It's cheaper. You can remove the core, whatever. But I don't like. What's one of the mandates of Pew Science? What's one of the founding like principles and what's in the ethos here? Well, we're not marketing silencers, despite what some folks may say about Pew Science on the internet and little dark corners of the internet about they think that Pew Science is a marketing thing. We're not marketing silencers, guys. We're testing silencers and evaluating the performance, and that's why this exists. So when we speculate, which is extremely rare, we do so intelligently and responsibly. And that's what we've done just here. And do you like that? Do you like speculation? I think a lot of people do. I can't tell you how many inquiries we got about this. This silencer was launched. I cannot tell you how many inquiries we got. And it's, you know what's really efficient to distribute our thoughts on a new technology? A podcast. I only have to say it once and everyone hears it. It's really valuable. It's a really valuable tool, guys. It saves us a lot of time. It gives a lot of people information all at once. It's super efficient. Kills a lot of birds with one stone. And not only that, it maintains a historical record. So if someone wants to go back in time and learn about what the Pew Science Laboratory thought of something in the past, they can go and they can reference it. Nothing's deleted. The pedigree's public. The podcast is public. Nothing's deleted. Okay, so it's here. It's here to reference from here on out, and we won't know more about the Ventum until we test it. So I've just told you everything I know, and now you can stop asking me. Okay, so you like that speculation. It's fun, right? Or again, I'm sure we'll test it. Remember, Pew Science is going to test everything, everywhere. That's the mission. Now, if you thought we got inquiries about the Ventum, I don't know who gave information about this next silencer to the internet, but when we got back from field testing this past weekend, we were all sitting down to dinner, having some cold ones, giving each other high fives about the great test day, which we tend to do in our research programs. And we saw just the most concentrated carpet bomb. How's that for a dichotomy? Of Surefire SOCOM556-RC3 information in our emails, in our DMs, in everything. And we're like, what's going on? And then we saw it's all over the internet. Like, oh, well, someone put it on the internet. Okay, well, it's all on there, and we got a lot of traffic from it, and it's taking up our time. It's taking up our personnel's time. And so we made a statement on social media, and we acknowledged that we do know about the silencer, but we couldn't talk about what we know. It's not our place. It's not our place to talk about that. But we will acknowledge the fact that it exists because it's everywhere, and everyone's asking us about it. Now that it's public, so it is what it is. I have waited a very long time to talk to you about the RC3. For the record, I've known about the RC3 for a very long time. But guess what? I was being super respectful to Surefire and not talking about it because it wasn't public. Okay, sometimes you want to be respectful. That's important, right? So now that it's all over the internet, and I am not a silencer dealer, I have no agreement with Surefire. Seeing people speculate about it with whatever that marketing information is on the internet, when I see people speculate, I think that's wild. So in the interest of keeping this speculation on this podcast responsible, I'm going to do my best to add to the speculation in a responsible way and also answer questions that the Pew Science Laboratory has been getting since the RC3 info was released this past weekend on the internet. And we talk about things that we can talk about. So first up, Like I said to some of you, no, we have not tested the RC3. Yes, we have spoken with Surefire. No, it is not currently on the schedule. Yes, it will eventually be on the schedule. I told you guys this on social media. Like I said, whether Surefire funds this, guys, whether Surefire funds the RC3 research or PEW Science members fund it, excuse me, you bet your sweet behind we're going to test the RC3. Okay, we're going to get all up in the RC3, guys. Guys, it's such a strange question. We have in our possession and publicly the most comprehensive and detailed Surefire rifle silencer data and analysis in the world. The only people who have more sophisticated Surefire silencer analysis are the PhDs who did the CFD modeling for the RC3. So here's something to chew on for all you techies. You know what's super cool? When we test the RC3, not if, but when we test the RC3, which you know we will, the world will get to see how a CFD analysis matches up with real world testing and analysis. Right? That, my friends, is pretty cool. And I'm here to tell you, as you know, I have a lot of experience with this. Okay? Because at the end of the day, what are the outputs of a CFD, guys? 2D or 3D, if you're super cool. 3D CFD. 2D or 3D pressure histories in a computational mesh, right? Right? Okay, cool. What are we going to give you at PEW Science? Well, we'll give you 2 points in space over time. Okay, so take the CFD results in those 2 points, assuming the computational domain is representative of the free field test environment at mil standard weapon system height. You get me? Assuming your air volume is congruent, all your equation of states are copacetic and everything. Okay, cool. Then compare. It'll be a good exercise, I think. I mean, I, for one, am greatly looking forward to that comparison. If I am allowed to see their CFD, okay, I've only seen brief stuff, not detailed results. So yeah, here we are, okay. I can tell you right now, just from an experience with engineering analysis for almost 2 decades, all models are wrong, and some models are less wrong than others. I want you to remember that sentence, and I want you to write it down. It applies all the time. Okay? And I do not think that you can argue with it. No engineer I've ever met has. Okay? So, my performance prediction for the RC3 compared with the RC2. Okay, first of all, I want to tell you something, and this is PEW Science. I can talk about this. First of all, let me tell you something about the RC2. We've tested on 14.5. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Lightweight. You know what else we've tested on 14.5? The 556 Mini 2. That's right. Yeah, buddy. You know what else we've tested on the Mark 18? The 7.62 Mini 2. Oh my God. Yeah, buddy. No. So we're all up in RC2 and Mini 2 land right now. We're all up in it. So when people ask us to speculate about RC3, I will just say this: we think we know what is going to happen, but there are some unknowns that are a little more tricky than, for example, the case of the HUXWRX Ventum versus the flow stuff that we just talked about. Right? You feel me? You understand? You get where I'm going with this? With the RC3, they're actually changing their downstream vent array from the RC2, and their early time shock and blast, their so-called alpha, in PEW Science parlance, the conceptual nature of that I tried to boil down for you so we can discuss it, that's a little different too. Their alpha is a little different too. So what I expect a lower omega. You should too. I expect potentially lower effective alpha with potentially, and this is speculation. We do not know this. We potentially suspect more severe bystander signature. Potentially. That is my guess. off the cuff right now. Is it definitive? Absolutely not. Is technical speculation fun? Absolutely it is. I mean, come on. Literally, I live for this stuff. Why am I not going to talk about it? Okay. Come on, guys. It's a freaking it's like Silencer Research 180th episode when we're going to talk about it. So, we see some other stuff. We see some other stuff online in rumblings and everything. They talk. Folks talk about, have they solved the hard use durability issues of the RC2 with the RC3? Does the RC3 address that? I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. We at the lab do not know. I don't even think that's a Pew Science question, guys. It's more of a different lab question, frankly. Labs or entities that will do burn down tests, we don't do those right now. We don't do burn downs. So, I mean, we'll see. When we look at the RC2 versus the RC3, I don't know. It's probably more durable than most consumers need. But I will say that I know how insane some of you are. So there's that. Okay. So we don't know. Okay. We don't know. It's not, so a lot of people have asked me about that. I can't even speculate. I mean, Pew Science can speculate about signature suppression for sure. Just looking at the design, just looking at the pictures, we can speculate, because we know a lot about the Surefire total signature reduction technology. We know a lot about it because we've dissected it over the years in multiple regimes, in multiple models, on multiple weapons. We understand the Surefire rifle silencers very well. Pew Science is the entity that brought you the WarComp research that, after it was published, everyone was like, oh, that's right, the WarComp does leak. Oh, that explains all of the gas jetting at the collar seen in all the YouTube videos of all the influencers that have been published for years. Oh, that's what that's from. Oh, high pressure gas venting right there is hazardous in atmosphere? Huh, weird. So yeah, we get it. Okay, we get it, guys. And the reason I bring that up to give you a little bit of Surefire history that Pew Science, from the Pew Science research pedigree, that some of you are aware of. I know there's a lot of new listeners to the podcast. Some of you might not know that the Pew Science Silencer Sound Standard contains comprehensive Surefire rifle silencer mount research that's not published anywhere else in the world. So we've done that. So, but another topical reason of bringing that up right now is that it looks like, it looks like the RC3 is able to use the old Surefire mounts. Which means, you guessed it, people might use WarComps. Okay, and that's another question we've been getting. We've been getting questions about that. So, of course, when we do test the RC3, we will also test it with WarComps. Of course. Come on, guys. We have to. It's almost like mandatory at this point that we do that. Right? Okay, so all in all, new silencers come in to the market all the time. This happens all the time, guys. It just so happens that this past weekend, I guess it started Friday and it progressed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday today. For these Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So for these 4 days, these relatively high profile brands in the current market have dumped this information to the public, and that's what has been the hubbub and what our inbox has been filled with. And so yeah, HUXWRX Ventum, Surefire RC3, been circulating everywhere for those 4 days. We here at Pew Science will be watching along with all of you at what develops. We are excited to test both of these systems eventually. Of course, we have great relationship with both HUXWRX and Surefire. They're both very forward companies that have open minds. They have a great staff that speak with us whenever. Yeah, so I'm sure whether or not the research is funded by them or by the Pew Science members, it doesn't matter. They'll see it when you guys do, as always, and the world will keep turning. It'll be great. So we're very excited to test both of them eventually. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. We love this stuff just as much as you do, and it's business as usual at Pew Science. We're going to continue doing this, okay? I just want to talk about it because I think it's fun. That's right. And speaking of stuff we love, and speaking of all these technologies, actually, let's freaking go. Guess what we did? Next topic, dude. Member Research 300 Blackout. It's live right now. I'm so excited about this one. Topic 2 at a time of 35 minutes and 21 seconds. Making great time. This is perfect. Topic 2, emerging technologies. Ooh, just saying that word gives me chills. New Pew Science member research published today. Research Supplement 6124. Live now. Subsonic 300 Blackout. Flow through. Forward flux. Surge bypass. Conventional baffles. This is all a head-to-head comparison. We took the HUXWRX HXQD762. We took the SIG SLH300 Ti. We took the CAT ODB. We took the Surefire SOCOM556 SPS. We took the SIG SRD762 QD Ti. We took all of the existing subsonic 300 blackout test data from those silencers, and we went super deep. And we created this subsonic 300 blackout battle arena with different technologies fighting each other as God intended silencer gladiators. This is basically another battle that kind of adds to that supersonic battle we had back in Article 6115. Okay? It's pretty cool. And I just want to say, we did it. We did what we said we would do. I told you we were going to do this. We did what we said we would do, and we did it in a very comprehensive and detailed way. And, may I add, we did it with properly naming all of the trademarked or copyrighted or named technologies in the systems. We made a really concerted effort to do that. Did you know, riddle me this, did you know that the Sig Sauer high flow rate technology had a name? You know, I actually didn't either until we dug into it a little bit recently on the internet. Did you know it's called forward flux? Doesn't seem to be trademarked or copyrighted. Couldn't tell. We're moving forward with the assumption that it is a trademark owned by SIG. So here we are. I put it in the article. Now we have something. Now we have a name. All of a sudden, I started Googling Sig Sauer forward flux, and lo and behold, people started. I see. Oh my God, SIG used forward flux. Oh my God, it's like they have a name for their tech. Perfect. Now we can use the name. I love when there's names for stuff so I can talk about them. Remember, if you give someone a designation for something, they can use it in a discussion. If you can discuss it, you can learn about it. You can teach it. If you can teach it, people can learn. If they can learn, they can teach it to others, okay? Vocabulary is important. It's awesome. So, one second. Why did we put this research article together for you folks? Why would we do this? And why would we do it now? Well, first of all, I told you we were going to do it, but we've been so backed up with publications, and frankly, it was time for member research instead of lab clients. Understand? This is only available for Pew Science members. This is to thank them for all of their support. This is a monumental effort. This takes a lot of time. Okay, this is very expensive, but it's very important. So we do these types of things to help members, thank them for their support. And although members do get extra data and analysis in every white paper we publish, which is obviously to thank them for their support, it has been a while. It's been a while since a dedicated member article came out, and I actually apologize for that. I think we should do it more often, and here it is. You know, you members make all this happen, so cheers. And I do mean that, and I think this is really great. And there's a second reason we did this besides the the love fest I just gave to the members. The second reason we did this, the research pedigree and the wild things we've been seeing lately with the technologies, I think needed it. Guys, unless you've been living under a rock, increasing the flow rate of silencers is here to stay. Okay, it just is. And guess what? Not all suppression regimes like the type of silencer with the high flow rate. If you make that silencer in a certain way. Sorry, too bad, so sad. Remember Research Supplement 6115? Remember Supersonic 308 with the Flow 762, the Q Thunder Chicken, the Dead Air Nomad TI? Remember what you saw for those silencers that have similar suppression ratings on that weapon? What did members see in the signatures, though? In that research supplement, how does human perception differ? How may it differ? Go check that out if you're a member. Remember, 6115. If you haven't seen that and you're a member, see it. Go get it. It's yours. Go read it. It's important. Okay, you might want to read that before you read this one. Okay, so for this new article, 6124, which silencers do we evaluate here, guys, in this deep dive in the subsonic ammunition combustion regime? Well, we looked at conventional silencers with poured cone baffles. We looked at high flow rate silencers like those from HUXWRX with their flow-through technology and SIG with their forward flux technology. We looked at a hybrid silencer, the ODB, that has CAT surge bypass technology. That's right. So what does this article provide for members? What does it provide? It gives you flow-through versus forward flux versus surge bypass versus conventional, all with subsonic 300 blackout. Because remember, what happens with flow-through technology with subsonic blackout? When I say flow-through, I'm specifically referring to a HUXWRX trademark. What happens with flow-through technology with subsonic 300 blackout? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Okay, well, what about forward flux from SIG? Well, same story, kinda. Remember? Yeah, it's all published. What about conventional silencers? Different sport. So then what happened? Well, along came surge bypass, right? Relatively recently. So what happened then? Well, what does that technology do? Well, it makes weapons think it's just like the other high flow rate silencers, but somehow it controls gas momentum dump. So what do we see that? Well, we see it as a bridge in the pedigree. The analysts see it as a bridge. It's a connecting bridge. So what do? Well, we group that in the hybrid design class in the article, okay? And so there's classes that we listed in the article there for you, okay? And guys, if you're not a member, there is a article preview on the website with this verbiage. So if you're getting confused, don't worry. It's all outlined in the introduction, which is free. The full article is only available to members. Too bad, so sad. And believe me, the member article is a lot more in depth than the preview is. Trust. The silencers in this article that we chose might seem strange to some of you. Like, it might seem strange that we picked this group, but there is a method to the madness. So here's the logic. The conventional silencers that we chose, they're purpose-built 300 blackout silencers, okay? One of the high flow rate silencers is also actually a purpose-built 300 blackout silencer. That's SIG SLH, right? It literally says, it's literally in the name, and it says 300 blackout on the silencer. Okay. The HXQD, what is that? Well, that's flow-through from HUXWRX. And no, it's not the Flow 762, but we don't have 300 blackout data for the Flow 762. So here we are, okay? So good enough for now. Same technology, just the Flow 762 updated it, but good enough for now. The CAT ODB was chosen for obvious reasons I just talked about. It's because the technology shows efficacy in multiple regimes, so of course we had to include that one. So, and again, the first things I want to talk about, conventional silencers, there's actually two in there, the Surefire and another SIG silencer, an older one. So you see, when you look at this, it's an incredibly interesting research supplement because, as all of you Pew Science members know, there is nuance to signature, and there is nuance to how the human inner ear interprets it, okay? So by studying this research, you should be able to gain further insight into not only the behaviors of these silencers on subsonic 300 blackout, but also how the hazards to shooters and bystanders may present, meaning when you are in the field and you hear them, what are you hearing and why? What is the nature of the signatures? How does hearing loss in certain frequency regimes affect what you may perceive, guys? This is powerful. This is the type of research that a lot of people that don't know about Pew Science ask about. It's all here, but it's only for members because it's very special, and members are special too. That's right. Really proud of this one, guys. A lot of work. It's a big deal. A lot of good info here. Again, if you're a member, go check it out at your leisure. If you're not a member, check out the article preview, see if it wets your whistle. And if you want to join, treat it. If you don't want to join, maybe someday you will. Okay. Please email with any questions, guys. Okay. Look at that free preview if you want. I don't know. I would say this. I'm going to say that again. If you're not a member and you look at the free article preview on the website, if you like what you see and you want to see more of the most in-depth silencer analysis in the world, please consider subscribing with a membership to Pew Science to support the research, guys. That would be great. We would be honored. The more of you folks that join, the more research that can happen. Okay, so thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I care because this is grassroots for the people by the people. It always has been. The effort would not be here today if it wasn't for the members. You guys are the salt of the earth. Okay? It's awesome. So as we get more of these technologies, and by we, I mean the collective we, as we are able to consume more of these technologies, there will be no doubt a question of how do they perform across multiple combustion regimes? What do they do on supersonic? What do they do on subsonic? What do they do with semi-auto? What do they do with bolt action? And guys, we're going to be here to evaluate them, guys. What about the RC3? Is there going to be a 762 version? What does that do with subsonic 300 blackout? Is it going to be like the 762 RC2, or is it going to be even lower performance? We don't know. Will there be another 300 SPS? I don't know. You see what I mean? You see how cool all of this is? Speculation based on physics, based on research pedigree, with wild desires to know more, backed up by brand new research from members. What a time to be alive, man. I'm telling you, this week, it's Monday for me right now recording this. We are going to be occupied with an in-depth research symposium all week. I wanted to get this out to you guys before I went away because I might not be able to respond to like a lot of stuff during the days because I've been so busy, but I'll try my best. But I hope you can hear the excitement in my voice for this. I hope the excitement of the entire Pew Science team is therefore palpable to you. I hope you see how hard we've been working for you, the public and the clients. I don't know if you notice how many articles there have been lately, but it's crazy. So I cannot emphasize to you guys enough how excited we are, how pleased we are, how everything's going, how incredibly useful this research has been to us with our own personal silencers and shooting habits. And we hope the same for you, okay? So until next time, friends, please stay safe out there. I will talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.